5 bombs exploded in the heart of the Bahraini capital Manama on Monday, killing 2 Asian street cleaners, officials said, prompting mutual accusations from activists and a government trying to put down a mostly Shiite pro-democracy uprising. The Interior Ministry said the bombs were homemade and described the blasts as terrorist acts, its term for violence by opposition activists. But an opposition politician and a rights activist said the attacks, which came days after the government said it had banned all rallies and opposition gatherings to ensure public safety, could have been the work of government forces trying to justify the ban or a further crackdown. Injuries to protesters or police are relatively common in the 21-month-old uprising, but attacks on the public have been rare on the Gulf Island, where the Sunni Muslim Al-Khalifa dynasty rules over the majority Shiite population. The explosions took place between 4:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. 0130 and 0630 GMT in the Qudaibiya and Adliya districts of Manama, the BNA agency said, citing the police official. It described the explosives as locally made bombs and said the 3rd Asian workers had been wounded. One of the attacks took place outside the cinema, where one of the street cleaners died after kicking the package that then blew up. The witness said there was little material damage at that scene, suggesting the blast had not been large. Attacks on police. Police say they have been the target of numerous attacks with homemade bombs since April, including one that killed a policeman last month, as the government has stepped up efforts to quell an uprising that has crippled the economy. Opposition politician Muhtar of the Shiite party with FAQ said he doubted that opposition activists were behind Monday's attacks, noting that leading Shiite clerics had called on followers to avoid escalating the conflict with the government. He suggested the police or military might have been responsible, or a rogue unit. This incident is strange. Why would anyone target workers? He said. I'm worried that police and military are losing control of their units or it is preparation before declaring martial law. Maryam Al-Thawaha, acting head of the Bahrain Center for Human Rights, said, as always, we condemn violence but, given the Bahraini authorities' background in spreading disinformation, we call for an independent investigation into the deaths of the 2 migrant workers. Thawaha, who is based in Denmark, said the attacks were not grounds to start a campaign of collective punishment, arbitrary arrests, and torture, as we've seen happen before. Regional rivalry. Shiites complain of discrimination in the electoral system, jobs, housing and education, and say they are mistreated by government departments, the police and the army. Government promises of action to address their concerns have come to nothing, they say. The authorities deny this. Washington has urged Bahrain to begin dialogue on democratic reforms with the opposition, but its criticism has been offset by its support for a country that plays a key role in U.S. efforts to challenge Iranian influence in the region and hosts the U.S. Fifth Fleet, which patrols oil shipping lanes. Bahrain has become caught up in regional rivalry between Sunni states such as Saudi Arabia, which helped Bahrain to crush mass protests last year, and Shiite power Iran, which champions the cause of Bahrain's Shiite opposition but denies accusations of fomenting the unrest. 35 people were killed in Bahrain during protests in February and March 2011 and the 2 months of martial law that followed. While mass protests in central Manama have been stamped out, there are still clashes between protesters and riot police almost every day in Shiite districts.